Hi, this is Mike Lembeck with Remax Commercial bringing you today's Let's Talk About It. And today's article is titled Commercial Real Estate Prices Could Fall 40% This Year in an Adverse Fed Planning Scenario. It is a worst case projected scenario and is not the most likely, but also not impossible. So they're going to be talking about the potential interest rate increases, what can occur, and CPI, and then also inflation or unemployment rates and where they're at, and potentially they could lead to a worst case scenario, and then also what a moderate recession versus a severe global recession would cause for commercial real estate prices. So let's get started. All right, the first part of the article talks about the Federal Reserve developed a 2023 stress test scenario, the baseline and severely adverse sets of assumptions. This is scenario planning, so most challenging assumptions aren't a prediction of a likely outcome, but even the baseline wasn't all that encouraging. All right, in the baseline scenario, they're looking at just what the lowest possible adverse effects could be versus the worst case scenario. So in the baseline scenario, it says the economy undergoes a slowdown and then a gradual recovery. Unemployment begins to increase, reaching 4.9% in the first half of 2024. So 4.9% unemployment is probably, I don't know, that's about an average rate, I guess, but potentially higher than where we're at now. I think the current unemployment rate is about somewhere in the 3% range. And then also the article goes on to says real GDP growth is 0. Negative 0.5% now. Measured numbers aren't yet available. Gets worse in the second quarter, then begins to improve, reaches 2.3% at the start of 2024, and by 2026 is down to 2.0%. That includes a moderate recession. So that is the moderate recession scenario, potentially what our GDP could be with something like what they're predicting is going to occur. Further on, it states that in a severely adverse scenario, unemployment hits 5.6% by the end of the first quarter of 2022. I believe that's a typo. It should be 2023. Quickly rises to 10% in the third quarter of 2024 and slows to 7.5% by the first quarter of 2026. 7.5% unemployment is still a pretty high rate. So, with the worst case scenario being unemployment at 10%, coming down to 7.5% would probably be looking at or looked at as a good scenario if that was what occurred. So people wouldn't be too happy with 10%, but they'd be okay with 7.5 if 10% was the extreme. So taking a further look, looking at the asset prices, dropped sharply in the severely adverse scenario. House prices and commercial real estate prices also experience large declines. In this scenario, commercial real estate prices are projected to reach a level in the fourth quarter of 2023 that is nearly 40% below the level at the end of 2022. So they're looking at potential humongous drop all the way down to the fourth quarter of 2023 of 40%. So that's in basically 1 year, less than 1 year from where we are currently. That's a pretty sizable drop in 1 year. Further on, it states that term defaults present the main source of risk for commercial real estate market within this time frame, but longer-term exposure to maturity defaults also presents a risk, especially in the severely adverse scenario if prices stay depressed and interest rates stay high. So we're already starting to see some signs of suppressed values in commercial real estate with the office market, some recent defaults on large loans in both Los Angeles and Mission Viejo Mall experienced there's a default there. They're trying to do a restructure on that loan or a loan modification. They're trying to do a workout on that currently. We'll see if that comes through. Also, Northeast United States, some of the states up in the Northeast section of the U.S. is starting to see some defaults there, and some workouts that need to be done on those properties. So potentially office buildings are going to be the first properties that have problems, and then it will roll over probably into retail, and then some hospitality, and also multifamily won't be hit that hard, at least initially. We'll have to see what values do, what unemployment does, what rents do, as far as we're starting to see some information on rents being reduced and not being so much of a landlord's market anymore. The tenants are starting to be able to dictate and negotiate on some of these rents. So we'll have to just wait and see as the year plays out what happens with vacancy factors and everything else. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me in any way. Please like and subscribe the video, or subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And then hopefully this information I'm providing is useful to you, and you get something out of it. That's why I'm putting them together. So look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care and have a great day.